Hi everyone, let's take a look at how you can use the repeating section control in Nintex Forms for Nintex Workflow Cloud. Repeating sections allow form developers to construct a wide range of solutions, such as building an inventory list, an item inspection checklist, or even an expense report. Let's take a look at a simple example, a menu ordering form, to get an idea of not only how repeating sections work, but also how row calculations work. Before you is a food order menu form. You can choose an item, enter a quantity, you can see the per item cost, and then once you click off that field, you'll be presented the line total cost. If I want to gather another item, I can choose maybe a salad, enter a quantity of 2. Once again, you get your per item cost, a line total, and you can also see how we sum up all the values on the total order value. Now, how do we build this? Well, it's constructed of 3 main components. Really, the repeating section control, but also the nested controls inside, variables, and rules. And how we go about doing that is go over to the designer. The first control we have here is the repeating section control, which I just dragged over from the control pane on the left hand side and onto my forms designer. I've given it a simple header, added a header background and a divide line, which you can see over here for some styling options. And it also has a name of repeating section 1. This is important to remember when you're going to use this control later in your rules and variables. From there, I go and I nest some controls inside the repeating section, such as choice single, where you can choose the menu items, and in here I have pizza, pasta, and salad, and I've given it a name of DD for drop down and menu item, and that's the name of the control. Quantity is going to be a number type control where we're taking the integer data type, and I've given it a name of int quantity. Next, I've got a number control for the per item cost, which is the decimal per item cost, because we're using a numeric type of decimal, as this is going to be a currency value. And we're not rounding up or anything over here. We're going to have the full currency value. From there, we want to do a line total cost. And this is going to allow us to go and place in another decimal value, which will be the quantity times the per item cost to give us the line total cost. 2 other quick configurations to take mention here is that the line total cost and the per item cost, because we don't want somebody to edit the values in here, will be given a read-only setting of yes. If we wanted them to edit the values in the per item cost and line total cost, we would make sure that they are read-only no, but here we want it to be disabled and be read-only yes. So how do we actually determine what the per item cost is? Well, that's where we're going to leverage some variables. So if we go over to the variables tab, we can go and say, all right, what is the per cost for pasta, pizza, and salad? And in each one of these, if we wanted to take a look, all I'm doing is creating a variable, giving it the appropriate data type, such as decimal, and then providing a numeric value or a decimal type value for it. And then creating these 3 types of variables. So you'll notice there's a 4th variable here called the decimal form total value, and so this one's going to leverage some functions within the form too. So what we want to do then is say, okay, great, we've got our nested controls, we've got named values in here, we have the per item cost, so we need to create another one which is going to be the line total cost. So what you would do then is build a line total, which is going to be a sum, which you can find under the functions lookup. Whoops. And you can see sum over here. Now, if you click on this function, you'll be given the format and an example of what it's looking for the parameters to be passed to the function itself, or the arguments. And so here you're actually going to want to pass the numeric values to be summed up at the end, and then you'll get your output. So how do we actually find the values we want to sum up? Well, you can kind of get a look at it right here. What we're doing is we're saying, okay, we need to add the variable, which is going to be a form control variable. It's going to be coming from a form, and I'll click on this line to expand the value. We'll want to take the repeating section current row and then say, give me the decimal line total cost. And so what that's going to do is that's going to give us the total cost, or sum up all the total costs that we have for all of the line items, and then that's going to give us basically our form total. And so that's what we saw at the bottom of that, the bottom of the form itself right over here. Now, how do we actually get this line total cost? Well, that's pretty simple too. Let's head on over to rules, where we can leverage the variables that we just created and assign the per item cost depending on what value has been selected from the dropdown, and also create the total line cost. So these are really 3 repeating section rules under the form rules section, and they kind of copy each other. So let's go take a look at them. The pizza cost rule is applied to the repeating section 1. Now, I've given it a name called pizza cost if the drop-down item selected from that DD menu item, which was pizza, pasta, and salad, is selected as pizza. So if that item equals pizza, then what I want you to do is say the per item cost value is going to be that constant value of pizza cost that we created under the variables, and you would just insert that. And then if we wanted to go and choose the line total for it when you've selected pizza, it's going to be in the current row, the repeating section for the quantity times the per item cost. So if I click on this box for insert, you'll see how I actually built this up. We're going to be taking the variables, the repeating section, and we're going to take the current row, and we'll take the per item cost, and then we're going to multiply that by the forms repeating section current row again, and the integer quantity. And so that's going to give us the output of the row cost for each item over here. And for setting the per item cost, really it's just going over to insert, choosing the form variables over here that we've already set. These are constants, these are higher level, and then that's going to be just your pizza cost. And so really you would repeat this rule design for the pasta cost, where you can see we're doing the same exact thing for pasta, and then once again for salad. And so that's going to give us our per line item and per item cost associated with the form. And so after we've built these rules and these variables, really everything can be applied back here. So I've also created a label, and on the label I've added the total order number, and then I've inserted the variable decimal form total to show up, and so this will adjust on runtime as values change in the repeating section. And so to take a look at that one more time, if we go over to preview, select the drop down pasta, enter a quantity, choose your per item cost, which would be set for you already, click out and you already get a value. Add another line here, click on salad, we'll add another value for 5, and then you can see everything adjusts as values are entered into the form. What other crazy ways can you take advantage of the repeating section? Well, this is Nintex Forms. You've got many different opportunities to leverage these great controls in your workflows and in your forms. I'm excited to see what you're able to produce with repeating sections in Nintex Forms for Nintex Workflow Cloud.